Welcome to another episode of Dr. Rob, Pain Detective, and I'm your host, Dr. Rob Pomahac. On today's episode, we have DJ Inferno, on-air radio DJ for LA's #1 hip-hop station, Power 106. He's a music producer, international DJ, clothing designer, and actor. He's coming on the show tonight because we're going to discuss why he's here, his history of injuries, and what made him unable to perform his DJ gigs because of lower back pain. Can't wait to bring him on the show. Let's get to it. Welcome back to the show, DJ Inferno. Robert, pleasure having you here, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Likewise. So let's go back in your history of like what you did as a kid and how you got into music and your sporting past and why you came and saw me. Let's just talk about you and let's go from there.
Yeah, well, just a young kid causing trouble, having fun, growing up in the beautiful city of LA. I started DJing at the age of 14 years old, learned from my stepfather, and he just taught me a bunch of stuff growing up. And just kept on going. And that led me to being now on LA radio, which is LA's hip hop #1 station, Power.
So as a kid growing up, living in LA, what sort of influenced you to become a DJ? Was there certain music genres that you appreciated? Was it sort of an input from your older uncle? Like what sort of made you sort of tune into what you appreciated in the music development you got into?
Definitely my father, hip hop music, and just the art of DJing by itself. I was so inspired by seeing the DJ behind the DJ booth, doing his thing behind the turntables, you know, being able to rock a party, being able to rock a club. It was all those things that I saw growing up that really inspired me to do this today.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you've had some injuries in the past, right? You talk about those car accidents that you had. That's a crazy story.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit, right?
Yeah. So when I was 17,
still alive.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're still here and breathing, alive.
Yeah.
So when I was 17 years old, I was DJing and I was going out to these parties, these house parties, and I was in a situation where I was in the back seat of a friend's car, and the driver, we got into a crazy accident, and the car flipped over 4 times.
And you made it alive.
And I made it out there alive.
Wow.
Yes, I woke up and I was on my head, bleeding everywhere, and it was traumatizing.
I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
From that, did you get any type of care? Did you go to the emergency room or just kind of walk away and say, thank you, God, I'm alive?
I did go to the emergency room. I got stitched up and then I just walked away, went back to school 2 days later.
So the doctor that saw you didn't think anything of it, didn't recommend going to see somebody, just kind of, hey, you're fine?
Yes.
Kind of a scary thought though, right? I mean, you're in a violent accident, you're 17, I get it, but crazy thing is that 80% of people that get in car accidents have future health problems. So maybe one of the things that you came and saw me for is related back to that problem, right? And also there's things that are happening to your body as you're going through that traumatic experience, whiplash associated disorders, trauma to the brain, minor impact that leads to different things like depression, anxiety, emotional changes. So all those things, unless they're evaluated properly, which most people at an emergency clinic don't think about or evaluate or research,
right?
The lingering effects at 17, 20, 30, 40, before you know it, you're in your 40s and 50s and you're wondering why you're having neck pains, you're having headaches, you're unable to perform as optimally as you like in the DJ stand.
Right.
Not because you hurt yourself today, but because those traumas, accumulations of traumas, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what happened?
Right.
And then you told me about another experience you had where you did what? When you're DJing and you fell?
Yeah, I was recently out in Cancun, Mexico, playing a show out there, and I was at my hotel, and leaving my hotel room, headed to my show, the stairs were wet. I guess somebody had just mopped them in there, and I was walking down the stairs, and I slipped and fell on over like 4 stairs going down.
Now, were you going to your show or leaving your show?
Going to my show.
So then you had to fall down the stairs and then you had to perform.
That's right.
How was that?
It was painful, and I was trying my best to hang in there the best I can.
And then you got introduced to me in my office, and I remember you still walking to the office and you couldn't move.
Right.
You had to be driven to the office.
Right.
Yes. You couldn't do anything. I was like, whoa, what happened here?
I was in bad shape.
Yeah. You walked in like you're 85 years old. and you performed.
Yeah.
Wow. Prior to coming to me, did you go see somebody where you're sort of trying different things? Did you take some over-the-counter medication, maybe some prescription medication, massage? Like, what did you do to sort of, wow, it's not working, I still have this problem?
Prior to coming to see you, I got some over-the-counter medicine in Mexico, and they gave me some shots there.
Okay.
And
which helped a little bit?
It helped a bit. Yeah. Okay. It got me through the airport to my gig.
Okay.
And then the first thing I did is come see you.
Yeah. And then we took an evaluation of you and figured out what was going on from you.
Right.
And then it's been about a year now since I first saw you, right?
A year and some change.
Back's doing better?
It's doing a whole lot better.
Yeah. Right. So all the things that we taught you back then, good job, right? We also did another reevaluation of your X-ray because we want to see where you are now. Because once again, just because you're feeling healthy doesn't mean you are healthy.
Right.
Like what you see on the outside may not be what's happening on the inside.
Right.
So one of the things that we really talk about or appreciate is prevention, maintenance, think about eating healthy. Those are all factors that we now involve when it comes to healthcare. Now, how about since that time? Have you been exercising? What's your life been so far when it comes to keeping healthy? The things that we kind of went over when you first came in, have you been trying to up and par with that? Have you been kind of taking care of yourself a bit better?
Definitely went down on my weight in the gym. I've been trying to eat a whole lot better, and I've actually been stretching a whole lot more.
Nice.
Before my workouts and before my shows, before my gigs.
So how's that sort of incorporated your performance on stage? Do you feel a lot more powerful?
Absolutely.
On top of it? I mean, tell me sort of how that's sort of changed your life when it comes to a mogul, when it comes to producing music and playing music.
It makes me feel more awake, more alert, more alive when, I'm stretching, I'm going to the gym, and it just brings me more present into what I'm doing.
And I remember when you came and saw me, you were like, I have no idea what's going on with my back. I really didn't get any direction.
Right.
I'm taking medications. I got to go perform. I got to go back on tour. But wow, I'm in pain. And I remember you coming in and we shot a whole bunch of data collection. We went over the information, right? And I remember you going on tour like a couple of days afterwards,
right,
and getting text messages from you and saying, hey, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
That's right.
And so there's a bit of a sort of like, wow, am I going to get better? Am I going to be able to perform? Am I going to be out of pain? And there's a sort of an unknown factor there. But once you started working a bit more when you were in town and you had that trust factor, I'm like, hey, I'm not in pain anymore. It was kind of a cool thing to see your emotional level increase, your positivity go to a next level, and really understanding, hey, you know what? I don't have to live in pain.
Right.
Because it's an unfortunate thing that we don't need to be unhealthy. We're supposed to be healthy. We're not supposed to live in pain.
Yes.
And when you walk into the office and you're in pain, the last thing you're going to do is, can this guy really help me? Right. You could say unknown because, wow, I'm in pain. You're such a young person. You're not 60, 70, 80, and you're suffering with crazy lower back pain that you can't even move. Why? Well, you had an injury, but why didn't it go away?
Right.
And so that's what we revealed with you by going over your diagnostics and providing you with answers and solutions. So that way, a year later, you're in great shape and great health.
Let's do it.
And we're back, DJ Inferno. Is that health is a state of being free from illness. And when you came and saw me, you were not healthy, right? So what people don't understand is that when you look at pain, this is where pain lives. 0 to 10 to 20. 0%, you got no health. 100%, you're in good health. 10% is when your pain is constant. 20% is when your pain comes and goes. What I try to focus on is getting out of pain, but also understanding why your function, what you do every day is breaking down to the point where you're no longer living in a state of health, but dysfunction or dishealth. And so in my office, what we do is you do pain management to get you out of pain, but that's only the 0 to 20%. That's traditional medicine, that's chiropractic, that's acupuncture. Let's take it a step further. Let's go into lifestyle factors, improving what you're doing, eating, drinking water, exercising, proper things that are individualized for you. No generalizations here. What works for you is based upon the research and the proof that we show you to provide you with a detailed treatment plan. So what we've created now is I've ever evolving, ever creating, always improving, like we had the discussion earlier, right? It's about understanding the cause of your pain, provide an evidence-based solution, and then coming up with a specific treatment plan for you.
Great.
Medicine should not be general. Your treatment plan should be different than that person versus that person. Because why? Because you're an individual person that has specific problems with specific correctabilities. So what we do in my office now is we have a comprehensive approach. We're an integrated medical office. I realized that I'm good at certain things and I'm not good at certain other things. So now I have experts in the world of regenerative medicine, cellular medicine, and also physical medicine. We combine the best of the best to make sure that our patients, you, get better and understand what you can do to actively live a great quality of life now. But when you get kids and you get grandkids and you're 100 years old, how can you be optimally awesome so you're still DJing and you're killing it? Right? Not just now, but next 50 years. Because you know what? Music needs you.
Let's do it.
Yeah, right? So then 4 pillars of pain. This is what people don't understand. My back hurts. It's a muscle problem. That's kind of like I go to the gym, my back is sore for a day or so, maybe 2 days. But if that problem lasts way too long, 5, 6, 7, 2 months, 3 months, that's not just a muscle problem. There's got to be other factors that are contributing. Nerve degeneration, spine degeneration, and soft tissue, like discs, ligaments, tendons, disc herniations, tearing ACL. Those are all factors that we have to look at when it comes to spine problems, lower back problems. Number 1 reason you go to a hospital is to be born. Number 2 reason you go to the hospital is because of lower back pain. Emergency room, right?
Right.
What happened there? No idea. Here's a pill. Here's some shots. Thank you. Go away.
Right.
Right? Car accident, same situation. Traumatic experience, 17 years old. No want or desire to understand what's actually happening inside your body.
Yeah.
Not fair. Let's change that. Right? So that's what we do here. First thing we're going to go over is going to be your muscle situation. We're going to take a look at what's actually happening inside your body. So what we did here is we took a look at your posture. And once again, this is the posture that you came in with when you had the injury. There you are. Still got those pants?
I believe so, somewhere.
Looking sharp, I'm telling you. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a side perspective of your posture. And everything that we do here is numerically based. Statistical analysis. Why? Because numbers don't lie. 1 + 1 is 2. In a traditional side perspective posture, it divides the body in half. Muscles in front bring you forward, muscles behind bring you back. Ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, ear. You're not the green line, you're the red line. So we saw your posture picture, your knees are shifted forward, your hips are shifted forward, your shoulders aren't doing anything, so that's a good thing. But your head is going really far forward, 1.56 inches too far forward. Your head weighs approximately 10.6 pounds, right? With that shift and with physics, your head now feels like it weighs 27.2 pounds, not 10.6. You're carrying an extra 17 pounds of pressure in a forward position.
Wow.
What that means is that your body has to compensate. It has to work extra hard just to stand because you're leaning over. Your body has to pull itself back to offset that forward position. So at all times, your neck and your shoulder, your mid-back muscles, your back muscles are working so hard just when you're standing. So those are the things that we kind of go over. We taught you about how to fix your posture. And the last thing, how your feet are playing a role. Well, when you see this picture right here, and you see this picture right here, right, what were your feet doing? Turning out, right? Most people don't realize how the feet play a role when it comes to ankle issues, knee issues, hip issues, and lower back issues. All those things are playing a role with why your body's not getting better, why it's not healing better. So what you have to understand is that when you're in this situation, you're always in a state of engagement. So inside your body, what's actually happening is this. It's called upper and lower cross syndrome or muscular imbalances. When your head's forward, your hands are forward, you're always having muscles that are working too much, either in a state of engagement, tightened, or a state of engagement, lengthened. And then you wonder why your neck is bothering you, and then why you have to have your girlfriend rub your back all the time. Don't make those muscles work too much.
Right.
And the same concept when it comes to, what do? We got to fix that posture. Don't do that anymore. Same thing in the lower back. What's your back doing over here when you're leaning forward, right? Your back's constantly working too much. Now, I get it when you're DJing, you can't really focus on that because you're entertaining the crowd. But you can't focus on standing properly to prevent that from happening. Constant muscle engagement, working overtime all the time. So don't do that. So 2 things that we teach and preach here is relaxing the muscles. Because how long do you think you've been practicing that posture for?
Years.
Probably your whole life, right? Grade school, high school. You said DJing when you were how old?
15.
Yeah. A long history of like leaning over, going to school, reading. You know, we get in that depressive state as a kid. We're constantly in a state of engagement where our posture just breaks down. And some of the factors that contribute to why your body's broken down is your posture. Simple things that we can do. Maybe when you're DJing, you bend your knees a bit more, you bend from the trunk, and you bend from the neck as compared to just like bending over this way. Things to think about is how do you improve your posture so therefore you can perform longer and perform at a high energy level so that we don't get tired when you're doing your 1, 2, 3 hour sets.
Right.
2 things that we do in the office, okay? Every time you're coming in, we use a Theragun, percussive therapy. Why? Because you're going to have a history of those postural faults because we've been practicing that posture for such a long time, we got to relax the muscles. You live in LA, you got a stressful job, you're all over the world. Come in, work on the massaging of the muscles for 8 to 10 minutes, calms the muscles down. Then we perform the mirror imaging exercises. Next piece of the puzzle, we'll look at your nervous system. Why do we do that? Your nervous system controls every cell, every tissue, every emotion, every thought. It controls why you're alive. Trillions of information going back and forth from your brain to your body. If that system is faulty or working as less optimal than it should be, your body breaks down faster than it should. So what we did was we scanned your postural system, your muscles, your erector muscles of your spine. The reason we did this because initially we shot your posture standing. We evaluated that. How do you improve that? We gave you exercises, made you more aware of it. But what are you doing when you're sitting? Because those are the two things that we can change or modify on our own, right? So we took a look at your scan of your nervous system. See the white bars on the left-hand side?
Yes.
Those are normal, okay? The green bars are minor stress. The blue bars are moderate stress. The red bars are severe stress.
Wow.
Time frame they've been around, green is a year, blue is 2 years, red is 3 years. You're pretty much a Christmas tree. If you look at your neck and your shoulder area, because you've been DJing for a long time, you're probably looking down at your phone. So hence you got lower back, inflammation, red bars, and you have mid-back to neck areas. We saw in your posture how forward your head was carrying those bowling balls around. You're probably also doing that when you're sitting and driving or working on the phone or working on the computer. Indicates that you're having pressure there. And then you had those tilts and those shifts in your body also. Look at that middle bar, that middle picture. See those arrows?
Yeah.
Those are your neurological systems pulling one way more than the other. You can't be in a state of balance and ease if you're asymmetrical. Isn't life about learning balance, learning balance, learning balance? Well, you're not in balance neurologically. So how can you be healthy? And then the final picture on the right-hand side, it's a total energy index. That number is kind of small to see, but it says 228. That's the amount of energy you're using to sit. It's supposed to be 100.
Wow.
You're using over 2 times the amount of energy to sit than you should be.
That's a lot.
Indirectly, how do we fix this? You work on your posture. But directly, what we have to do is reduce or eliminate or improve the neurological pressure on the spinal muscles. Correct? So how we do that is by doing something called a chiropractic adjustment or acupuncture. So once again, we don't do anything in the office unless there's objective data telling us to do something. So in this situation, pressure on the nervous system, boom, chiropractic adjustment takes the pressure off the nervous system. But if you got reds, which have been around for a long time, one adjustment's not going to do it. That's why it has to be a plan. Right. And after 16 visits, I reevaluate your data and do a pre and post comparative study of your nervous system to see how well your body's been adapting to the adjustments. I'm not so worried about today. I'm worried about today, tomorrow, and also in the future, so I can come watch you when you're 60 performing.
Let's go.
And I'm 70. Then we also do some home therapy, maybe get a TENS unit. So when you're sitting watching TV or have some downtime, you put those on your back, relax the muscles, relax the nerves.
Cool.
And then just in case you're also having other things that are breaking down your system, we have an amazing doctor here. He's an HIV specialist for 30 years that analyzes internal derangements, organ dysfunction, adrenal dysfunction, blood, hormone, urines, what's actually happening inside your body. Great. Why do we have that? I don't specialize in that. But have you had a physical once a year where the doctor says, you're fine? No, this doctor digs deep into it to see how he can improve your health.
That's incredible.
Allergy testing, other things that really are important to the individual because why? You want to know how to be healthy. What you should be putting in your body, super important, right? What supplements you should be taking, why? Because if your blood is dysfunctional, how do we improve that? And Dr. Mike's amazing with that.
Awesome.
The last thing we shot was X-rays when you came in. So we're going to go over these X-rays, and then I'm going to go over pre and post X-ray of your lower back as well. Okay. So the picture on the left-hand side, that's a normal picture of a lower back side perspective facing that way. Okay. In your lower back, you have 5 bones. All your bones are the same size. All your discs are the same size because they're the same age. Your lower back has a curve of 40 degrees, and so does your tailbone. So 2 curves in your lower back. You're on the right-hand side. Okay, this is when you first came in when you had the injury. Okay, the green line is good. The red line is you. What do you see?
It's in bad shape.
Well, it's not where it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's not the worst thing I've seen, but now we have to understand how this plays a role. Is there a participating component of the structural system that's putting pressure on your nerves and your bones and not working properly together? So what we do is we analyze it. We take a look at a statistical analysis. Here, Your sacral base angle right down here, 37.2. So this angle right here, that angle is supposed to be 40, and you have a loss of curve there. Then you also have a loss of curve right here, and then you're pushed back here. So loss of curve in your lower back, loss of curve in your tailbone. When you have a loss of curve in your structural system, this is what's happening. The brown things are your bones, the blue things your disc, the yellow things your nerve. So it's a picture of a spine facing that way. The main reason that you get arthritis or a disc degeneration or disc herniation is because of abnormal pressure or loading on the system. Because if it was age-related, that means that every bone or every disc would have a disc herniation if you had it, not all over your spine. Because what happens here after a period of time is that bone structure puts pressure on that disc, extra loading, abnormal loading, puts pressure on that disc, puts pressure on that nerve. And then over time, it gets more and more degenerative until it becomes way more problematic than it's supposed to be. And then traditional medicine, how do they fix that? By doing surgery. They either cut out your disc or they fuse your bones together. New medicine, if you have a disc herniation, have a regenerative medicine expert on our department, how do you regrow that disc? Potential options are stem cells, you might have heard of that before, or exosomes. Both are options. Once again, I'm not an expert in that field, hence I have an expert on my team. To then have a consultation with you and say, hey, MRI positive, disc herniation, how do you fix it? Success of having metal in your back, 18%.
Wow.
Not a good option, okay? And then what a disc herniation means is when you take a look at it, in your lower back, because your bones, discs, and nerves are all working properly when they have a proper angulation, and you have angulation issues like you have, called subluxation, look what it does. It causes breakdown, right? And those bones putting pressure on those nerves control different muscles. So at L1, it controls that area. L2 controls your quadriceps and your hamstrings. L3, L4, L5, now pain going down your legs, sciatica, things of that nature, and your tailbone, okay? Now, one thing we also have to remember in your posture picture, your feet were turning out, right? When that's happening, that engages the muscles that turn your feet out. Something's got to make them turn out. So your glutes, and your piriformis. Sciatica, heard that term before?
No.
Okay, well, that's pain going down your leg. And the reason that pain goes down your leg is because when you're having those muscles working too much, we saw in your posture, then what actually happens there is you're having sciatica and you're having that piriformis muscle fire too much. So that's actually happening inside your back and having that pain going down your leg. One thing we talk about is keeping your feet straight, because that red muscle right there, it's engaging, it's tightening when you're turning your knees out, turning your feet out, contributing to that pressure on that nerve, causing pain. So what I want you to do from now on is when you're DJing, look down at your feet, make sure your feet are straight ahead. Simple things. But once again, if you're not aware of it, how do you know how to fix it? We also shot your back in motion. This is you moving forward. This is you moving backwards. Stress fuse. Why do we do that? Well, when you came in, you said, Doc, it hurts more when I bend forward and when I bend back. Right? It's not always in the steady position, but what's actually happening when you're moving? So hence I have to shoot an X-ray to show that. You see that red line right there on that bending forward or flexion state?
Yeah.
And the bending backwards extension state? Right? You have two red lines, one on each picture. And the red line over here is that second bone, and then over here when you're bending backwards on the fifth bone. When I see those red lines, that indicates to me that you're having ligament damage. And you talked about that car accident you had, right? So that ligament damage has to come from some form of trauma. So when you're extending backwards, that yellow ligament right there called your ALL or anterior longitudinal ligament is no longer working properly. It's loosey-goosey. That rubs on the discs, rubs on the bone, reduces the size of where the nerve comes through. So instead of having a big nerve opening, now you got a small one called stenosis. So every time you're bending backwards or bending forwards, same concept here, bending forward, called your PLL. Now it's your posterior longitudinal ligament is under stress or pressure. Those ligaments don't heal. Okay, the only way to fix those ligaments is to have an MRI, determine if there's ligament instability past the point of no return, and then heal it. How do we heal it? That's where the regenerative medicine expert comes in play, and possible options is PRP. Centrifuge your own blood, put it back into your spine, creates a healing process. Why? Because when you have ligament damage of the spine, you're 40 times more likely to suffer with chronic lower back pain because of that reason.
Wow.
So all the things that we're doing, strengthening, flexibility, chiropractic adjustments, eating healthy, if I don't fix that, you're more likely than not going to suffer with lower back pain. Now, the cool thing is you came in today, right, after about a year or so of not seeing me, and we want to take a look at what your X-rays are now doing.
I was on vacation.
Yeah.
I had to come see you.
So now we have a pre and post comparative study of your X-rays. So let's take a look at that. Picture on your left. That's your first picture. Picture on your right. That's your second picture. You got better, man. You went from a 6.9% loss of curve to a 3.9% loss of curve.
That's great.
Yeah. So you actually improved your curve, right? So the work that we did stuck, right? Because once again, it's working on improvements. Then your life gets busy, and then we have some maintenance. So I've seen you a couple times here and there. And even with that small time that we worked on each other, pain went away, you got better, and your spine actually did a good job. So in your lower back L5 tailbone, look what happens right here, that yellow part right here, that disc right here, and these two bones right here. When you're having too much curve in your tailbone, this is what's happening. So when you have not in a curve, it puts pressure on the front of the disc. In this situation, look what happens to that nerve right there. It gets compressed, extra loading on the back of the disc because of the bones, causing disc degeneration or disc herniations. That's a primary driver of pain. Facet syndrome right there. So what's actually happening in that facet syndrome, instead of having a nice joint space, right, from a posterior view, it's called the facet area of your back. That cartilage, that tendon, that ligament area, soft tissue, right, is overlapping over and over again. And then it causes inflammation or arthritis. So bottom line is the 4 pillars of pain, right? Muscle, nerve, bone, soft tissue, they're all contributing factors. So if I don't improve all 4 factors, what am I doing? Not a good job for you. You should not hire me. Hence, find people that actually help improve, or have people in their office or their departments that can help those factors. Decompression therapy, why? Because when you're having compression of your disc, we got to decompress them. In your first X-ray, right, what do we have? Flatness of the curve. So remember we put you on that table that kind of, you lie down, it was causing an opening effect. You kind of lie there, you don't think anything's happening. It's causing decompression. Awesome therapy, you do it in the office.
I actually bought that from you.
I know.
Last time I was here, and I actually been applying and using that. So maybe that's the reason why it's looking better.
You actually listen to me?
Yeah, I did. Nice. The first time.
That's okay. I don't mind it, because half the people don't. But you know what? I'm still going to tell the truth. And then when it comes to soft tissue degeneration, right? In an ideal world, unfortunately, the problem with getting an MRI is that 70% of MRIs are actually misread or misdiagnosed. So it wasn't until about 6 months ago, after working and trying to find radiologists that actually knew what they're doing, a good friend of mine, Dr. Sana Khan, been a radiologist, pathologist, medical doctor. He actually looks at MRIs the same way I look at X-rays. He measures them to look at disc herniations, ligament instabilities, facet hypertrophies, all the things that most radiologists miss. So hence now we actually have an expert when it reaches an MRI, wonderful expert doctor. He's also on our team.
Great.
So once again, we have a consult with our regenerative medicine expert. Then he outlines what you should be doing. So the new format of what I do in my office now is, it's a station-based treatment plan. Why? Problem, solution. So in the office, muscle therapy, station 1, the Theragun work, station 2, the postural exercises on a vibrational plate, nerve degeneration, the chiropractic adjustment or the acupuncture session, the spinal degeneration, decompression therapy, spinal correction therapy. And then now what we do is, everyone that has some type of pathology of the spine gets a prescription for an MRI. Because if there's a problem there, we should let you know and come up with a solution for that problem.
Absolutely.
Our treatment plans here are really simple. They're 8 weeks long. Why? Because people don't want to be seeing a doctor over and over and over again. So let's set up a treatment plan that makes sense for a lot of people. I can get you out of pain and then fix the causes, right? Understanding what the problems are, finding the causes, having a baseline, reevaluating the causes, understanding how to get you out of pain, and then working on flexibility, strength, modifications in certain things you're doing. Because the more you work with me, hey, what should I be eating? How should I be exercising? I do this because it makes me healthy. So I just pass that information on to what? You, because I care about taking care of my patients, because I like being healthy. In the final world of evolution, we want you to be up here, where you're never worrying about health problems ever again. So we're just improving your function on a daily basis to make you healthy.
Awesome. Wellness is a goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone deserves to be healthy.
Yes, sir.
And just like you weren't healthy, and now you're killing it.
Thanks to you, Dr. Rob.
Man, appreciate it. DJ Inferno, pleasure being here.
Thank you so much.
Enjoyed your time with us, and welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Feels good to be back.
And you have to invite me to one of your shows.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining us tonight. We had an amazing guest, DJ Inferno. So we discovered a bit about his past. He's had some major traumas, a crazy car accident when he was younger, then a huge slip and fall right before a show. Didn't get the proper treatment in both those situations, which is very common. I hear this over and over again. Robert came and saw me for his lower back situation. We discovered that his posture wasn't where it's supposed to be. He had imbalances in his front position of his posture, his side position of his posture, putting too much pressure on his foot. We also saw that his nervous system was way overinflamed on his lower back and also his mid-back, upper back area because of what he does for a living. And then we also saw spine pathology, both in structural misalignment issues, compression, and also ligament damage, which most people don't even know exists, let alone evaluates. And that's what sets us apart from every other office, is because we look at the 4 pillars of pain: muscle degeneration, neurological degeneration, spinal degeneration, and soft tissue degeneration. Robert came back and saw me a year later. We shot some new X-rays. We saw that his lower back did improve, but his tailbone has shifted too much. So now, instead of having not enough curve in his lower back, probably to guard his lower back injury when he first came and saw me, now he has too much curve. And that causes facet syndrome, which is pinching on the nerve on the posterior part of the disc area. Problem because the way he DJs tilts forward, leans forward. So once again, he's going to go back to when he's DJing and improve his posture. Raising awareness on how he can improve his overall health was a key of what we did today, and I think we accomplished that. So thank you for joining us on Dr. Rob, Pain Detective. See you next week.